All right, guys, what's up? We're here this morning to a job we're going to be starting here soon. We had to come out and cover up the floors, or refinishing all the hardwood floors, so covered them up before they get the drywall delivered and we get it covered to death when we start hanging. I'm going to show you around this place real quick. So this place has been in this man's family for a long time, like 70 years, I think. I think his great-grandfather won this place in a card game. Great little piece of land in this little house. They used it as a hunting cabin, then they added on to it, and I don't really know how many times they've added on to it, but it'll be nice when they're done. Got a nice pond down there. His land actually goes, he owns a whole bunch of acreage out here, but his land goes that way a little bit. So we've been putting down ram board this morning. So all this ceiling is going to be wood. We're just going to do the walls in here. This will all be drywall. 11-foot ceilings. These walls will be wood and the ceiling will be drywall. All spray foam all throughout. This house is going to be tight. It's not going to need much HVAC. Got one bedroom here and then a bath. This is going to be all tile over this tub all the way up to the ceiling. Unfortunately, I probably won't get to see this one when it's done. All we're doing here is drywall. We're not doing any painting or trim or anything like that. So this little back porch area back here, I don't really know. I don't know if he's going to try to use this as a bedroom. I'm not sure. He plans on just using this. That front room up there with the wood on the walls will be his daughter's office. She runs his rental properties and some other businesses he's got for him. The rest of the house he's just going to be using as like a place for a family to stay when they come from out of town. Down here, really low ceilings down here, but I guess this will be a bedroom. This was his bedroom growing up. He said there used to be a coal fire stove or something like that, and he had to, I don't know, he was telling me a story about how he used to have to load that stove every day when he came home from school. And pretty cool stories he was telling me about this place. And then this back porch back here, which I think we're just doing the ceiling back here. He's going to put wood on the walls. I believe that's the case, but anyway, I don't really know what he'll use this for, but so you got good views of the pond and hillsides back there. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a tour of the place before we get the drywall delivered and start hanging and everything. It may actually be another week or two before we get out here to start hanging. I'm not sure. But anyway, I guess this will be the intro to the video whenever we start hanging. All right, real quick, guys. I was editing this video and realized I forgot to say something. Two things real quick. We are hanging on scaffolds here, and it sucks. The ceiling was just under 10 feet, and we cannot reach anything over 9 feet on our benches. Yes, I do know I need to order some better benches. I need some with some leg extensions. Also, if you don't get anything out of watching us hanging, listen to the podcast we're listening to. It's the Bigger Pockets podcast with Ed Milet as a guest. Incredible podcast. I did have to cut it up to make it fit in the video, but really great podcast. Anyway, hope you enjoy that, and hope you enjoy the video. Thanks.
Let's get to the interview. All right, Ed Milet, welcome to the show, man. This is a huge honor. I've been a big fan of you for a long time.
Oh, it's great to be here, and I've enjoyed our pre-conversation. So if it's anywhere near as good live as it was before, it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, well, good. Well, let's start by giving our audience an understanding of who you are. You know, like our audience, are from the real estate investing space, which you obviously, we're going to talk about real estate today because you are involved in that as well. But you're also like, I'm not like butter you up here. You're a big deal in a lot of different areas. Like, people know your name. Why is that? Like, what's your background? What do you do?
Well, first, I'm a really average IQ, average ordinary dude. Grew up lower middle class. I'm really not anything, weird to say a lot, I'm not anything special, but I'm really not. I did have some success early in my life building a financial services business, and then in that business I started speaking a lot, and then people started saying, hey, you're a pretty good speaker, and that ended up going to different companies and speaking, which led to consulting. And then I met Tony Robbins when I was young, and so I started to learn, and Wayne Dyer and Tony Robbins kind of mentored me when I was a young man, and so I learned a lot about peak performance in the mind and the brain, and I became fascinated with that. And then that led to, it's a really interesting life. Like, then it led to, I started living in nice neighborhoods. My neighbors were athletes, entertainers, and well-known people. Then they wanted to be coached. And that led into other businesses. So I'm an investor. So I got a really rich, blessed life of everything from financial services to Rob Dyrdek and I are involved in a company called Outstanding Foods, pork rides, and real estate investing and speaking and coaching, and so it's been a very rich life. I enjoy most everything today because it's so diverse. So they might know me from one of those areas, I'm sure probably.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you were a speaker at the David and I are part of this organization called Go Abundance, and you were a speaker there. I think it was last year, and like I wasn't at that event because I had a little baby at the time. It just been born, but everyone just kept talking about how I missed out on being there. Like, I should have been there. It was phenomenal. So I did catch a clip that they recorded, and we can go through the story later maybe, but it was a story about you and your son golfing, and him struggling with the golfing. Anyway, that was fantastic. Let's hit that later. I really want to I would love to hear that story. But let's go back. When you say I'm just doing financial services, what does that mean? What was that?
I built a team of people that sold life insurance and investments. And we sold that company. Well, that company was sold, I should say more correctly, to a company called Drywall in Transamerica many years ago, a really big firm. I'm still involved with that organization, but what that did was sales, right? It was recruiting. I had to learn to communicate, transfer energy, influence people, persuade people. And those skills have served me in negotiating real estate. Yeah. Those skills have served me in public speaking. They've served me in, strategic planning in different businesses. And so that was really a blessing for me. I have no background in finance, no background in sales. I come from a family too that's like very anti-pushy, there's no priority in my family whatsoever of financial success. Meaning it was never discussed, there was no dream, we never went on a vacation. I didn't went on a vacation as a kid. So I don't come from like wanting to be rich or any of those things. And even to this day in my own family, I think they're proud of whatever success I've had, but they're more like, are you a good man? Are you a good father? Are you a good dad? They could care less that right now if I turn the camera around, which I really can't do, but like I'm at this is a $25 million home. And if my mom walked in, this is a third home, right? And if my mom and dad walked in here right now, my dad can't because he just passed away, but my mom walked in here, she would say, how do you afford the electricity in here? What's the air conditioning cost you? That's just where I'm from. And so it keeps you some degree of humility, I think.
Yeah, my parents still tell me every time they get together, my dad will still say, you could have been a lawyer, son. And I'm like, I live in Maui, Dad. I got the ocean right. I'm like,
come on, man.
Come on. No, good.
Isn't it interesting? Let me tell you something funny. I had my first really big jet. I bought a big jet. It was hangared, no exaggeration, about a mile from my mom and dad's house. 1 mile. They never saw it. Flown on it. I go to Hawaii every year, bro. I invited my parents for 25 straight years. My dad's like, why would I get on an airplane and fly to Hawaii when I could just hang out with you in the living room and chill? I'm like, because it's freaking Hawaii, Dad. He's like, I love you. Just come over to the living room and watch some golf. That's my family. Like, I cannot even express to you how simple it is. It's a good lesson here. And one of the lessons is I always thought eventually they're just going to be blown away by me. Yeah. And if that can't be the reason, you should do things to want to make your family proud of you. But if you're really doing things to get this wow out of people that you love and care about, you may be disappointed. There's got to be a deeper reason for you wanting to be successful than to impress people. because they're not impressed most of the time.
No.
They're just not. It's going to be very, I want to do that. I want people to be impressed with me when I was young. It's a very shallow arrival when you get there and you realize they're really not that impressed, and a lot of them are really jealous.
I was gonna say they're more irritated. I feel like there's nothing that's irritation. Yeah, they're like there's this like rich people are obviously bad people,
Right.
and like there's this vibe that goes there. It reminds me of high school where like the popular kids were obviously bad kids. That's why they're popular, because they did bad things. Like we have this anger towards them. It's kind of like the way people are angry towards vegans. Like I felt the vegan effect. Like if you're like vegans, everyone's like, people are like I don't say I'm vegan, but like I'm close, right?
I can
and
tell
people
how healthy you are. Yeah.
Thank you. People make fun of me for it because it's like it's that vegan effect. Nobody likes to be like when you see somebody else doing really well with any area of their life, everybody else then wants to judge them for that because it reflects badly on themselves.
Okay, let me tell you how crazy that is. I've never talked about this on a podcast, but I've become pretty wealthy, right?
Yeah.
But I was raised with that mindset, like they must have got it through some ill-gotten means, right? There's got to be a story there. And here's the truth. I'm 50 years old in April, and mainly if I'm on a golf course where I live people are very wealthy, right? And even to this day, and I'm one of them, they kind of go through a little bit of a bigger barrier than someone who's not rich to prove to me they're a good person. If that makes any sense. Still to this day.
Oh, yeah.
How's this guy got? He's got $400 million. You got a higher hurdle to prove to me you're a good human than if you didn't have any money. And that's just my upbringing. It's so strange. It's really, really true.
Well, I think it's important to acknowledge that that's how humans are, because there's a lot of people that would like to be wealthy but won't take action to be wealthy because in their own mind they're thinking only bad people become wealthy. And you've talked a lot. I've heard a lot of your content that talks about your financial thermostat. You're never going to exceed what you think you're worth. And when this stuff sits in the back of your head, you have this belief that wealth is bad. You had to use people to get it. I would say that's kind of a common theme in our country right now, this idea that rich people got it on the backs of others and they had to step on other people, whereas from the group we're in GoBundance and from other people that we've met, I'm sure from you're rubbing elbows with people that are very successful. They're often the most generous human beings you'll ever find that help people. They help people that won't even help themselves a lot of the time, right? But that's not what it looks like on the other side of the curtain. So I would love it if you'd share with our audience a little bit of your philosophy on the ways we hold ourselves back from achieving our goals, which obviously one of them is going to be wealth.
Yeah, well, boy, really good point, by the way, what you just said there. And it's something that, like, I'm in personal development, right? So why am I even in this space? Just so it gives people some hope. Because I really needed it to be a baseline functioning person. Like, I had low self-esteem, really low. Lots of reasons, alcoholic dad, I was small, whatever, right? But I had to get into these tools and tactics and techniques to just get baseline. But once I started to grow, I went, whoa, this is the key to going to all these other levels. And so I'm a huge identity person. I just really believe you get out of your life what you believe you're worth long-term. There's short-term windows where you can kind of violate that principle. And so I do talk about this thermostat in your life. It's your identity. It sets the thermostat of what you believe you're worth. And it's like right now, it's the desert. It's relatively cool outside, right? It's probably 45, 50 degrees today. It's 72 in here. So the external conditions do not impact this room because there's a thermostat on the wall that sets it at 72. In the summertime, it's 120 out here. It's 120 outside, it's 72 in here. That thermostat sets the setting. It's not the external conditions. This is also true in our life. If you're a 72 degreeer financially, I can give you the worst possible financial conditions in COVID. You'll find a way most of the time to get back to 72 degrees. But I can also give you the best opportunity, the best deals, the best access, the best thing in the world. That's 150 degree opportunity. You'll find a way to get 72 degrees out of it. And so if you don't change, that's, by the way, that's in your happiness, your fitness, your wellness, your wealth, your relationships, your faith. I'm a psychopath about my thermostat setting. And there's lots of techniques and strategies. There's a thing everyone always says, all right, who are the 5 people you hang around? It's the most oversaid thing in self-help, personal development in the world. But truly, look at them. And if I asked you, seriously, can you name 3 things about them that you must have that they have in your life that you don't? And most people go, no, not really. But could you name 3 or 4 things about them you don't want? Yes. So they're the wrong people around you. But there's other techniques, not just association, but short-term bursts. If you do short-term crazy bursts of activity, you can trick your identity into believing that you're at that level permanently. So most very successful people I know, people say, well, they're very consistent. True. But you know what? Most of them have this very bizarre short window bursts in their life that they can go, even in your guys' case, unpack your entire life. You're both extremely successful. You're very consistent, but I'll bet you there are 2 or 3 90-day windows in your entire life that just unbelievable things happened in. Maybe the ramifications didn't land till later, but a 90-day window, 2 or 3 deals you did, 2 or 3 people you met in short burst windows of time changed your identity.
Yeah.
Moments can change your identity. A podcast can change your identity. So I'm a nut about that one principle of winning. And then the second thing is, not to go, I'm being long-winded here. Please. The older I get, I know I get my standards, not my goals. You get ultimately what your standards are long-term. So I'm constantly evaluating my standard of how I conduct myself, how I think, who I'm around. You know, today I was 7 minutes late for our show. That is a complete violation of who I am. I'm always early. That's the first thing I did, right? Even though I'm the guest, I said, I'm so sorry. It's unacceptable standard for me. And that will bother me, just so you know, for a very long time. Because it's not about you guys. It's about me. Yeah. That's not my standard to be late. So I'm a nut about standards, and I don't think enough people evaluate that part. They're just writing stuff down on paper they say they want, instead of getting in touch with the standards. Tom Brady has higher standards than the average NFL quarterback. Yeah. Period. Right? Yeah. You meet a business person, their standards are different. You ever meet a world-class mother? It's not her goals. It's her standards, is what she expects of herself from a mother with those children are just different. Right? It's our standards every time.
That's so good. That's so good. It reminds me of something we've been talking about lately on the show. We've mentioned it a few times now. It's like, I think some people have this standard that says it's okay to lie to themselves. Now everyone listening goes, no, I don't say that. But when you set an alarm in the morning at 6 o'clock and you hit the snooze button 7 times, it's like telling yourself you're okay setting a bar and then missing that bar. And so that, and you do that in everything. I was going to go to the gym today. I just wasn't feeling really good. Every time you do that, you're just lowering that standard, which then applies to every area of your life, whether it's
self-confidence.
Yeah.
The key thing of being self-confidence is that you keep the promises you make to yourself.
Yes.
Period. And when I meet someone who's not self-confident, I just know they've had a habit of breaking promises they've told themselves.
Yep.
So what I do is I try to set the game up too. I try to make ones I'm going to keep. And that's why that being late thing today, I know I'm belaboring the point. You have no idea what a violation that is to me of even 7 minutes, 7 seconds. Yeah. And I'm pretty cognizant of keeping the promise. I'm a confident person, I would say, at this point. Yep. And I must tell you, that's because I've kept promises I've made to myself for the most part. Quite honestly, not to be very deep, but if you're a person of faith, even if you're not, but if you understand faith, why do we have such faith if you're, let's say, a Christian? Because we believe there's a promise Jesus made to us that if we accept him as our Savior, we abide by these commandments, we get to go to heaven. There's kind of like an internal contract. You're like, we believe the promise you made, and that to the extent that you believe it is to the extent that your faith is deep, that you're confident in your faith. So take anything in your life, it's to the extent that you believe the promise will be kept that is linked to your confidence in every single area of your life. And so you better have one of those relationships with yourself, or you're going to have a very difficult existence on this earth.
I would say, to further that point, a big reason why you see a lot of people that are successful have a measure of faith, whether it's Christianity or something else, is like when you believe the promise that you just said, you now have inherent value in yourself because you're valuable to an important person, which by
All right, last question from me. What do you think separates successful people, if you had to narrow down to one thing, successful people from those who give up or they fail or they never get started?
Their will to win can't be bought. So I have this thing that I've been talking about a lot lately, that your will to win can't be for sale. For most people, here's the truth, because I almost got there. With enough failure, enough rejection, or even enough success, their will to continue to win can be purchased for a price. With enough pain, enough suffering, or even enough success, you've seen this too, they just relent. And they go, yeah, it's enough, or it wasn't for me, or it didn't quite work out. No, you sold your family, man. You sold your dream, you sold your destiny, you sold your will to win, you cashed in the chips. You cashed them in. For most people, enough failure don't relent eventually, or then you see this, I got enough money now, I got enough this. Their reasons were that. They relent their will to win. For me, I know you've heard me talk about this before, but it's a deep-seated thing with me. I believe I'm going to die someday. We've talked about faith. I believe God created me to be a particular dude. I believe he introduces you to the dude you could have been. I think he literally says, hey, Ed, here is the dude you could have been, that you were born to be, the experiences, the memories, the places, the contribution, the difference, the feelings, the emotions, the friends, all of it. Here's who you And to me, that's why I'm here today. I'm chasing that guy. I want to be him. That's who I'm capable of being. Heaven is you die and you meet that person, you're identical twins. Hell is you meet this person you could have been and you're complete strangers. And you live in eternity knowing you didn't become the man you could have been when you were here, or the woman. And so for me, I'm chasing that guy. So my will cannot be bought because I'm ultimately chasing that dude. It's not a dollar amount or a podcast or an amount of downloads or who loves me or doesn't love me. I'm chasing that guy God made me to be ultimately, and I'm miles away, miles away. The thing I admire about my dad, I'll tell you last for your audience. My dad had been sober 34 years, it'll be 35 years this April. My dad had lung issues, so my dad was literally like ventilator, respirator. Before they took my dad away to the hospital the last time, my dad's whole life was about helping other people get sober. And he did this anonymously in AA. I never met any of these people, although at his service I learned about them. Convicts getting up, entertainers. Ed Milet changed my dad had the same name as me. It's pretty emotional to hear. As my dad's being pulled away, no joke guys, my dad's being pulled away in the ambulance with oxygen on. He cannot breathe. I mean, watching your father struggle to breathe like 3 breaths a minute, 4 breaths a minute, it's pretty emotional. My dad's phone keeps ringing and he's got it in his hand on this stretcher that he's on. My dad grabs the phone, pulls the oxygen out, and he takes a call from a man who was struggling to go back to drinking again, who was sponsoring. And my dad stopped. I've never said this ever. My dad stopped the 2 men driving the ambulance and said, "Please stop." And I watched him. And he talked to this man like that for 30 minutes. And saved him. Put the oxygen back in. But what I remember about my father is my dad was still chasing that dude up until the very end. Because it wasn't about, it was who he was. It was who he was capable of being. There was one more person he could help. I'm not that good a man. I'm not even close to that. But I admire and love my dad so much because he could never articulate it like I just said it. Will to win and chasing that dude. He was just constantly being the man he was capable of becoming. Up until his last, literally his last breath, no joke. And so for me, that's the example that I get really emotional about that, but that's the example that I want to set when I'm saying I'm chasing that dude. You are not going to buy my will to win. That ain't who I am, and I hope people listening to this or watching it, you can't be bought either, with success or failure.
Thank you.
This is me and my son. My son's a golfer, was a golfer, but I was a baseball player, pretty good baseball player, and we ended up moving back to the same hometown. My wife and I met when we were 5 and 4 years old, and we grew up on the same street. And then ultimately, I moved back to that same town. My mom and dad, her mom and dad, all 3 of my sisters, all her sisters, 8 of them all live in this town. So my son started to play sports. It was the same Little League field I played on. And my daughter's very coordinated. She's me. My son, probably there should be a DNA test, right? He's much bigger. He's not coordinated. In fact, to this day, he's so uncoordinated, I do not know if my son is left or right-handed. So when he played baseball, he went lefty to righty, lefty to righty. This poor kid has done more of these on fly balls and got hit in the face. Like, he cannot catch a freaking ball to save his life. And it was just getting bad in sports, and I wouldn't push him. I didn't coach, so I don't want to be compared. I don't know if any of you relate to this. My son played sports. Then we moved to the desert, and when I moved to the Palm Desert area, a lot of professional golfers lived there, and like, Max should pick up golf. Again, we went left to right, left to right. Finally, I just made sports all about fun. So for years, my son golfed. This is at a golf tournament at the Madison Club we were at. And my son is this kid, I'm a goofy guy, and my son kind of had used clubs, and I was his golf coach with no lessons, and this ragtag, you can't tell, but his hat's on crooked, and just a terrible player. And so we would play these tournaments every week, and I loved it because I would captain. I thought, because I'm a busy guy, I get the 5 hours with my boy, and we'd have year after year of these beautiful times together. And I was like, I tell him before the tournament, hey, whether you win or lose, Debbie loves you the same, right? If you win by 10 shots, he goes, I know, Dad, if I lose by 10, you love me just the same. And he would take me up on it and lose by 10 shots. Every week,
week after week, my son would finish last, second to last. There was nothing wrong with it. We were having a good time. It really was bonding. He's such a sweet boy. He'd top one into a lake, and the other kid did good drive, Ian. That was awesome, because he's got all the stuff I teach, right? Like, he was sincerely happy if you birdie and he'd get a 12, right? And I've already cussed twice. Forget my language. It's just for this use of this story, okay? So we've done that for years, and every week I caddy. I'm out there in Adidas, and I'm a big dude at the time, and tank top on, and my tattoos, and we're playing against pro golfers. They're matching clothes. The dad's dressed to the nines. This guy you just saw on TV last week, and I'm just encouraging my kids. These other dads are really stern. So finally, it was a life-changing day for my son. And I share this with you because maybe it'll be for you as a dad, businessman, whatever. We played 9 holes, and I get emotional, I tell you this, but we played 9, and my son was down by 12 shots in last place. And at that tournament, there was a tee box over there. They would give the kids lunch. Well, this day, the lunches were way over there, and the tee box was like several hundred yards away. And one of the dads, who I didn't like, who I won't say his name, we'll call him Dick, which is actually his name, very fitting. He, Mr. Dressed Up, and he's won some professional tournaments, and his kid was a beast, and my kid's ragtag. And anyway, at the turn, he says, hey, guys, why don't you guys go to the tee box, have Max go grab your sandwiches. He's not in this thing anyways. Max, go get your sandwiches. And Max says, okay. I said, stop. I said, no, can I cuss one time? Or not? You're gonna Okay. I said, what the fuck did you just say to my son? I said, don't you ever fucking talk to my son like that again. You understand me? You never talk to my son like that again. And I was the nice dad. I said, I'll tell you what, we're gonna get the sandwiches. So I'm shaking. And little Max was there, and I got down like this. Max was 10 years old. I said, come here. I said, Max. I said, we're gonna fucking win today. That's it. You understand me? And I'm holding him. Dad, scared the hell out of me. Dad, you love me when I go, not today. No one talks to our family like that. You hear me? We're gonna win, Max. You've got a great swing. All of a sudden, all this stuff I teach, I never did. You've got a beautiful swing. We can kick these guys' ass, Max. We're gonna do this. Here's what we're gonna do. I never did this. I said, I pick the club. You don't get to pick the club. Daddy's gonna tell you exactly what club to hit. Look at my hand right now. Okay? Look at, I'm serious. I said, Daddy's gonna pick the club, okay? And you don't practice swing. You just do your thing. You take that beautiful swing of yours. We're gonna fucking win today, Max. My son had never heard me cuss. Just so you know, my wife's father is a pastor, so is her brother. He never heard these words before. I said, we're gonna win. And I'm touching him, and I said, I'll go get the sandwiches. You walk up to that tee box, and I said, you grab a 3-iron. He goes, Dad, it's a drive. I just got dizzy. I'm so fired up. Seriously. I said, you get that 3-iron down there, because I know if he hits a driver, he's gonna go into another damn house. We're down 12 shots, man, with 9 to go. 28 kids in this damn tournament. And I go grab the sandwiches, and I watch him walking with his little golf bag, and like Max always walked. And I come and getting on, I'm watching him from a distance. I see this 3-iron perfect swing right down the middle. And I get up there, and he kind of hands me the club. Here you go, Dad. And I go, we're gonna win. Max, we're gonna win. Grace, how that feels? Felt good, Dad. We get to the middle of the fairway. So he had an 8-iron. I go, Max, take this 8-iron, no practice swings. Hit this thing 10 feet left of the pin. Hit this thing. I'd never talked to him like that. Now we're talking about winning. I can't even finish the story. I'm so out of breath. This is not to play you. I'm dead serious, man. So he hits this 8-iron about 20 feet left of the pin. He kind of twirls the club back at me. In a hand, I'm carrying his bag. Now he's kind of walking down the fairway like this. I'd never seen my son walk like that before. This is becoming a different young man. Yeah. We get to the green. Normally, Max just walks up, putts. I said, hey, read the putt, buddy. Read the putt. And he's kind of looking on both sides of the putt. I have no idea what he's actually looking at. Just kind of, no idea. He's kind of giving it one of these. He gets up, takes the putter back. God's so good, by the way. Drano. Birdie. Yeah, yeah. Never made a damn birdie before. How's that feel? That felt good, Dad. The other guy's like, it's just a birdie, dude. It's one hole. I'm like, isn't that amazing? They never do that with their kid. They never celebrate. It's all business. Change the next hole to par 5. This is how good God is. Max bombs a driver down the middle. They all hit their drives. It's a late on a par 5. They all lay up. We got to go. We're down 11 now. I go, hit the 3-wood on the green, buddy. He's like, Dad, it's 220. He's 10 years old. I go, smash this 3-wood, pal. And he gets over it, comes back, hits a beautiful 3-wood. I'm going, Jesus, please, if you've ever given me anything, all the sinning, just sit aside for 1 minute. Give me one, man. And this thing's in the air. And there's this brick wall with rock on it. We're so far away. Please, God, please. And it hits, and he goes, on the wall. My heart sinks straight up in the air from where we are. This is true story, I swear to you. And somehow it had gone forward onto the green, rolls forward into the cup for a deuce. For a 2-4-5. Yeah! Can you believe this, buddy? Like, God, I'm taking pictures, and I want you to imagine, like, what's going on with Max? What happened on the sandwich break? Fast forward, 17th hole, he's down a shot. He's down a damn shot. He's in second place, Dick's son's in first, the other kid's in third. Gets over the hole, I said, now, I said, Max, he has another 8 on. I said, hit that 8 on, man. 8 feet left of the hole, put that thing tight. He goes, okay, Dad. Hits it about 8 feet left of the hole. Now, every single putt, Max is really reading it. What do you think, Dad? 10 feet, left, right, break? Yeah, sounds good, dude. Okay, next another 30. We're even going into 18. My son's now even. Shoulders are back, walking strong. 18 hits his drive down the middle, all 3 boys do. And he's still down 1, forgive me. He's down 1 on 18, he's down 2 on 17. Now he's down 1 on 18. So, no, he's not, he's even. He's even. There's a lake in front of the hole. Max hits the longer of the 3 balls. I hear Dick say to his son, I won't say his son's name, hey, don't hit it in the lake. I said, Max, he's gonna hit it in the lake. You don't tell someone what not to do, man. Sure enough, he dumps it in the lake. I said, Max, 8 iron again. There's another 8 iron. Just hit this thing 10 feet left of the hole, man. Let's get the hell out of here. He goes, okay, Dad. Hits about 15 feet left of the hole. This little boy was a great player. He gets up, chips it to about 1 inch, taps in. So here's the deal. Max has a putt. If he 2 putts, they tie and go to a playoff. If he 1 putts, they win. Now, Mr. Max out, stupid me over here, is telling him what to do all day. We get to the green, and I kind of do a little bit of what the other dad says. I go, hey, Max, this thing's downhill. Don't hit it too far past the hole. We 2-putt, we get out of here. My little boy, who's never said anything like this to my life, goes, Dad, I'm going to make it. I said, well, knock this sucker in. Let's get the hell out of here with a victory, buddy. He goes, all right, Dad. Sure enough, walks over the putt, gives it his bullshit look that he always does. Gets over that thing, takes the putter back. That thing was halfway to the hole, and he's walking it in the cup. Bam! Drains it, pulls it out. Yeah, yeah! Woo! There's no one there. But you'd have thought we'd have won the damn match. Now, let me show you something. Let me show you. That's my son warming up that day on the range. But I didn't tell you another thing. You know how Tiger wears red on Sunday? Max had a blue shirt in his golf bag, so when he got the sandwiches, I said, I want you to switch shirts. Put your blue shirt on. That's going to be your winning shirt today, buddy, just to change his identity. So he changed to the blue shirt. This is him winning the medal that day. That's my little guy. Look at that face, okay? Now watch this. Watch this. Watch this. I'm not bragging because we don't know if he's left or right-handed. He won 17 straight tournaments after that day. That's him shooting 64, winning. That's me and him last 2 weeks ago in Cabo. I told you there's a genetic difference. And that's him signing his full ride golf scholarship last week. He's going to play college golf. Why do I tell you that? What's the lesson there? My son stopped playing golf and decided to win at golf. He got intentional about winning. So I'm telling you, you got to get intentional about winning in your life. You got to get intentional with your family about winning. Maybe you're doing really well. Compared to what? Compared to who? What if you ran for the week with me? What if you ran for the week with guys I run with? You got to get intentional about it. What changed my son's life was deciding he was going to compete to win and not just play. Not just frivolously go through the motions of the exercise of golfing, but intending to win. There's a power to intending to win, to getting clear about what you want and lasering in on it, and then the momentum of getting that going. As good as you are now, I'm a totally different man than I was 10 years ago because I've got life momentum. I'm stacking win on top of win on top of win. So when I lose, that's the aberration. It's like now when he misses a putt, he literally says, that's not me. Whereas before, it was automatic. It wasn't him to make one. You got to get intentional about winning, where the aberration is when you lose. You got to get a little bit more intentional, a little bit more focused, a little bit more serious about your whole damn life. If you get anything out of what I've said here today, that there is a level you can go higher at, this is the level. The level is getting really damn serious about winning. In every area, winning in fun, winning in family. But you know what I'm talking about. Dialing that focus in a little more lasered to winning. That's the only thing that changed his life. He still isn't coordinated. He just is a winner now. He flat wins. That's his identity. And so now he's going to go compete at a different level. So that's my story.
Awesome.